Which is older, the shark or the tree? If you had to guess which came first, sharks or trees, you'd probably say trees. It just seems logical. Trees feel ancient, like something that should have been around forever, sprouting from the land long before anything else. Sharks, on the other hand, are complex predators. You might imagine that they evolved much later, once life in the oceans became more advanced. But here's the mind blowing truth: sharks are actually older than trees. Not just by a little either. Sharks were already swimming in Earth's oceans millions of years before the first trees ever appeared. Sharks trace their origins back to around 400 million years ago, in the Devonian period, often called the Age of Fishes. But to really understand how they came to be, we have to go back even further, to a time when fish didn't even have jaws. Sharks evolved from jawed fish called placoderms, which were heavily armored, bony fish that dominated the seas during the Silurian and early Devonian periods. These early jawed fish gave rise to the chondrichthyes, the group that includes sharks, rays, and chimeras. Unlike their bony fish cousins, sharks developed skeletons made of cartilage instead of bone, which made them more flexible and better adapted for speed and hunting. One of the oldest known sharks, Cladocellaceae, already had a streamlined body and sharp teeth, making it a fast and efficient predator. But while sharks were thriving in the ocean, life on land was only just beginning to get interesting. At this point in Earth's history, land was still barren and mostly lifeless. The first primitive plants had started to colonize the land, but there were no trees, no forest, and certainly no large animals. The only creatures scuttling around were early arthropods, millipede-like critters, some early insects, and a few other invertebrates. The world was still dominated by the oceans, and in those oceans, sharks were already ruling as top predators. It wasn't until about 380 million years ago, roughly 20 million years after sharks first appeared, that the first tree-like plants evolved. The earliest known tree, Archaeopteris, was unlike any modern tree. It had a woody trunk and large fern-like leaves, making it the first plant capable of growing into a true forest. But here's the thing: by the time Archaeopteris started covering the land, sharks had already been around for millions of years. They had already seen entire ecosystems come and go. While these first trees were just starting to spread across the land, sharks were continuing to evolve, adapting into new forms that would allow them to survive for hundreds of millions of years to come. It's easy to think of trees as simpler, more fundamental life forms than sharks, and in many ways they are. But trees are actually a more recent evolutionary development than sharks. Even more incredible is the fact that sharks have survived every single mass extinction event, including the one that wiped out the dinosaurs. The forests of ancient Earth have changed dramatically over time. Many of the early tree species went extinct, replaced by different types of plants as evolution marched forward. But sharks? Sharks have stayed sharks. They've adapted, yes, but their fundamental body plan has remained incredibly successful for over 400 million years. So, the next time you look at a shark, consider this: that sharks' ancestors were already swimming through prehistoric oceans millions of years before trees even existed. The world has changed countless times since then, but sharks are still here, still thriving, still reminding us that sometimes evolution gets it right the first time. Got a weird midnight question keeping you up? Drop it in the comments and maybe it will be featured in a future episode. Thank you for listening, and until next time, keep wondering. I am Mari and this is Midnight Question.